do us a favor and share at this time. Get somebody on point today.
We are one of those programs that look at everything from a kingdom, from a biblical point of view, yet no subject is out of bounds. So we talk about culture and events and faith and religion and politics and sports and all major events that have an impact on you, that whether they're national or international. We have those kinds of conversations, and we don't always agree, but we are not disagreeable. So we'd love to have you talk to us. There are some very significant things in the news that we have to talk about today. Pastor Nick, I'm sure, has already introduced himself today. I'm been running late all morning, man. And I got here and still couldn't get it together. I am disappointed, not shocked, just a little surprised that one of the people that I know that are in politics in our state, Senator Menendez, was indicted. I must have missed something because I didn't even know he was under investigation, not unless they have kept it secret. Did you know he was under investigation?
Well, they had some stuff on him a few years ago.
Yeah, but he got off.
And it got off and went away.
Yeah.
And then somehow they got some information and found like some gold bars in his house and some other stuff. And
several $100,000 in cash.
Yeah.
Gold bars. And of course, he and his wife are denying, but the other part of the report was that his house had gotten into foreclosure, and these people, it didn't make any sense to me, had gotten into foreclosure, and his whoever was giving him the money, in addition to the luxury vehicle, which they showed a picture of, the gold bars, the cash stuffed in clothing at the house, they said that the people who were sending their money caught up the mortgage that they were behind.
Yeah.
And that he was, peddling, using his leverage on the committees that he serves to get people favorable deals.
Which is normal for Congress, right?
Well, they do it all the time. So
yeah,
it makes me wonder why the first time didn't correct it, or if I don't get it. I know him to be a very stern person. He knows his way around politics. The first time there was some trouble, I was a little surprised, but I'm really surprised this time.
Yeah, I mean, you can only believe articles to a certain degree, of course.
Absolutely.
They're kind of wondering where the influence came from.
Influence? Oh, who the people were?
No,
they know where it came from.
Who influenced him?
They know where it came from.
The Eve in the situation,
They know because they know where it came
from. Yeah.
That's
to influence him, even though he's probably doing stuff, but people come to make it worse.
Yeah, I think what's significant, and what I think initially, my experience, is that somebody around him was doing something illegal that knew what he was doing. They got caught and they flipped so they could get away.
Yeah. Because I if you and I are in, friendship, whatever, pastor, whatever like that, if I'm doing wrong, you're not going to jump in there and say, hey, let's do it smarter.
Yeah. No.
And you're like, no, bro, you're going to get caught.
No.
That's,
don't do that.
Don't, but I guess the allure of things, power, and emotions.
Well, and the other thing, we can't eliminate money.
Yeah.
So obviously, the kind of money that they found at the house, reportedly, the gold bars, which they had pictures of, reportedly, the car, reportedly, the mortgage, which they could have researched. It was, I don't know the government to indict you unless they think they have a very strong case.
They got some stuff.
Yeah.
Because for them to go in there, they knew something was up.
Well, here's the other thing. I'm you're no criminal, I'm no criminal. But say, for instance, I'm selling drugs. I'm not going to have them at the house.
No. I know. That's why they got stash houses.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
That's level 1
Mhm.
racketeering intelligence. You don't,
Yeah.
not where you live.
Yep. Yeah. And especially like somebody brought up in the comments, I forgot about that. He was supposedly selling secrets to the Egyptians.
Or favors or something.
Favors,
Yeah.
and giving secrets away. And so they must have been tracking him for a long time.
Well, that's
the case build.
That's why I'm saying, they come out with he's being indicted.
Mhm.
Now, of course, he's known he's been under investigation.
Mhm.
Or maybe he didn't, because I guess if you were keeping stuff at the house and you got wind that you were being investigated, wouldn't you manage to get it out of the house?
Yeah. Yeah. Unless you have that hubris where you feel like
I can just do
I'm
what I want to do.
untouchable. But see, a Republican brought this up. That's, not a Trump guy. He said, y'all see how the Democrats take care of their own. In the sense of, if one of them like are this in error, they'll call them to resign. They'll be like, yo, you need to fix this. Where Republicans will just let their people get away with stuff and never say.
He had to step down immediately.
Yeah. So
put somebody else in his spot until this is.
Yeah, Murphy, a bunch of them all came out and said, look, bro, you need to.
You got to step down.
But why? To me, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
If one party can do that, the other party should say, you know what, you're messing us up.
Yeah.
We got to sit
Well, I think my friends that are Republicans, I always know when they know something is foul.
Yeah.
Because they're silent.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my guys that I know, the Republicans. They're very silent. If when Herb was alive, if I called him and we started talking politics, Herb was silent.
Yeah.
Most he would say was, oh man, the guys are crazy. But they tend to be quiet. And that always tells me.
Yeah.
The other thing that tells me, especially with our former president, is whatever he attacks, he's usually guilty of.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
If he brings it out,
yeah.
You got these people that are dishonest, But I understand that the evangelicals are back on the wagon again.
Oh, of course.
But just quietly.
Quietly, because power, they're going to do like they did last time. They're going to either be quiet and say nothing or publicly say something, but vote for him privately.
And I wonder, they've had enough upheaval. They kicked out 600 churches. The improprieties have been uncovered. I wonder if the leadership feels like they have nothing to lose at this point.
Yeah.
But if they can get him in office, they'll have everything to gain. But what signals does that send to their constituents, the congregants around the world that are Southern Baptists and those others?
The problem is the people in the pews support what the leadership is doing. That's the issue.
Wow.
They are that bought into this next presidential campaign is going to be built around woke and left on that side.
So it's a culture war. It's not an issue that we deal with every day.
Trump and them are the only thing that's going to help us wage war against these leftists, trying to change the country, this woke group,
I saw something this morning. John, Jon, he's a political historian. Last name begins with an M. It'll come to me. And he was talking about how when the South lost, and even though there was laws that would, free slaves and give people, in principle, equal rights, that what the Southerners came up with, and this is just a general statement, not all Southerners, but the political agenda of the South is touched on two things: emotion and religion. And that they literally justified the whole, we got defeated and, we're not giving up this lifestyle. We're not buying into this right thing as them being resurrected. What happened to the rest of the book about the injustice to people and enslaving folk? And didn't even God deliver Israel from slavery? Showing that he had, it broke his heart that his people had to be enslaved. But it broke it enough that he got them delivered. What's wrong with us?
Well, two things. That's why they took those pages out of the slave Bibles.
Okay.
They took the Exodus out. They took all this free slavery stuff and gave the slaves the Bible
without
without
the
liberty part of it. The other aspect of it is this.
Is that why liberation theology was largely
black?
Negated in the South?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that was radical.
It was radical. Yeah. But see, they knew.
But it's biblical.
They knew what they were doing, and they know it's right.
Okay.
But one of the things that I remember, I took a history class in college. I love that. So, Manifest Destiny. That's when, for those who don't know, America's journey to the West, to California, and those other things. They took it and you still see this today.
Yeah.
That America is Israel in the Bible.
Right.
And God has given them the ability to conquer territory and take over people groups in order to receive the thing that God promised.
The closest thing Israel gets to anything national is the national church. Mm-hmm. It is called the ecclesia. Yeah. It is called the Son of God. So the church is the things, but I can see how the church nationalism would be the next logical step.
Yes, because we are God's church.
Yep.
And you guys are waging religion against God's call for America to be the light on the hill, the bastion of the world,
but with all these injustices included.
Yes. Yep.
So I have friends that live in Texas. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure why they do. Just like I have friends that live in Florida. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure why they're staying there. Mm-hmm. Because I talked to a pastor a couple of weeks ago after the shooting in Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. And he sounded very down because the shooting was a block or two from his church. Mm-hmm. And his statement to me was kind of riveting because he's a real serious guy. Mm-hmm. And he said it's a bad time to be Black in Florida. And I'm like, wow. Mm. And this guy is not, he's an intellectual militant. He's not one of those guys that's talking, let's go out and do things. John is an extremely intelligent, wise individual. Mm. And he just feels as though that to be of color in Florida is a big negative right now. Mm. And it has been for a while, but I think it's building. Yeah. And now with basically the governor wanting to wipe out any knowledge of anybody's history other than acceptable white people in Florida is incredible to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's some got to stay and fight. Mm-hmm. It's all they know, and that's where they are.
Yeah.
When I go to Texas, the place where I stay is very nice.
Is it?
God, it's nice. The hotel that the conference is it this way. Ross Perot's house is about 5 minutes from the hotel of the seminar, man.
Okay.
Now, his old house, of course.
So that's his neighborhood.
Mark Cuban lives around the neighborhood.
Oh,
it's
wonderful.
I said I would never move from New Jersey, but I was like, if God ever gave me a different life, that is a nice spot to live. I'm trying to tell you something. But anyway, I know I have a cousin who lives in Texas.
Okay.
The money, the money he's making down there.
Yeah.
Because the tech thing is big in Texas.
Sure.
Is very alluring.
Yeah.
And he's one of more of the liberal parts of Texas.
Okay.
In Austin.
So they do have some liberal parts.
Yes. But it's like a very small.
It's like Wakanda.
it's like the Atlanta and the Georgia.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Wow. I'm wondering. Now, a lot of people had a lot to say about getting some of our citizens away from Iran. Mm-hmm. I actually understand both sides. Mm-hmm. I understand that the getting Americans back, but I think you've incentivized kidnapping. Mm-hmm. And I haven't heard anything. Perhaps you have. I haven't heard anything that's going to be able to address other than, we strongly disprove, which has never stopped the English country.
Right.
It's like Chuck Schumer saying shame on you to the Republicans. That is the weakest, most punkish thing that I've ever heard, man.
Yeah.
Shame on you?
Mm-hmm.
If they had any shame, they wouldn't do the stuff they were doing.
Right. Yep.
But they actually say it like it's going to,
Yeah.
like it's going to have an impact on them.
Right. Yep. And I mean, and like you said, you see both sides of it. Same thing with Brittany Griner.
Sure.
We're like, if it was our family member, you better do everything you can.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, it's like,
absolutely,
you're putting out $6 billion, and the way they had to get the money to them through South Korea, some way they had to do that thing. To me, I'm like, yo, Americans, do not travel here. And if you go,
you're at your own risk.
You at your own risk, because
I got some friends that are going to Egypt, and I just think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, and I would love to see the pyramids one day, man. Oh, that is one of my goals. I'd
love to go to Dubai.
Yeah,
but you don't know when the trouble's going to break out.
Yep.
And the whole "I'm going to live my life" thing, that sounds really bold until something happens to you.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, we had friends that, the gang violence was very intense. As long as you stayed in your neighborhood, you were relatively safe.
Yep.
Unless a group invaded the neighborhood. But I had friends that and acquaintances that went to parties in opposing neighborhoods and never came home.
Yeah.
And their whole thing was, man, I'm going to have a good time, blah, blah, blah. And that's all good until somebody's standing over you.
Yeah.
Getting ready to take your life.
Yeah. And so wait for things to calm down. Because I know, like Dubai, those Americans that go over there and think they can act the way they want to act.
No, sir.
They will lock you up in a heartbeat.
And keep you.
Yeah. Because their rules are a whole lot more strict
Absolutely. I think if you have Christian values, their restrictions won't seem so severe. But if you go over there without the foundation of faith, adhering to the disciplines of the Bible, I think you would have a hard time there. It would feel hyper restrictive to you.
Yeah. And our American arrogance. I mean, like going to Mexico and mad that the workers are speaking Spanish.
It's just terrible. It's exactly what you said.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
I was in Japan, and one of the offenses for some of the Americans on the trip was that, why don't they speak English? So they said it like 6 or 7 times around me. And finally, the 7th or 8th time they said it, I said, why do they have to?
Right.
We're in their country. They don't have to speak English. It didn't endear me to the rest of the group, but I was tired of hearing it. I said, well, we're in their home.
Right.
So they got to speak our language?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I know. It's the American.
It's horrible.
Yeah, it is. It is. And now, don't get me wrong. I know some people, the allure to work over there, because the amount of money you make.
They have to learn the language there.
They got to learn the language there and do,
Yeah, and I've forgotten a lot of it now, but while I was there, I was on a tutorial. And I learned all the basic phrases, all the basic requests. So the rest of the tour group, they got a little upset with me because they said I was getting favorable treatment all over the Far East. And I said, well, I've taken the time, every country we're in, I'm talking to the maids. How do you say this? How do you say that? How do you say? They were teaching me. So I'm becoming minimally childlike conversing.
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't, stringing together paragraphs, but I could say good morning, hello, goodbye. Can you help me? That kind of thing.
You mean being courteous works?
Yes.
Being nice works.
Yes. So, and then they got mad at me. They said, you've been getting preferable treatment. I said, well, you're waiting for somebody to speak English. I'm trying to learn Japanese. I got to China. I did the same thing. Teach me the stuff.
Yep.
And it worked out for me. And they did give me favorable treatment.
Yeah. Me and my wife went to Jamaica that time. Well, a couple of times.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I miss vacation. Anyway, just talking to the people.
Yep.
Being nice to them.
Courteous. Good morning.
Good morning. Learn their name.
Yes, sir.
They was taking care of us.
Yes, sir.
Just.
Yes, sir.
To me, common courtesy.
Works all over the world.
Yeah.
They're, they don't say, hey. They say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Is it that hard?
Right.
To do that? No.
Oh.
So, I was good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all over this. And when I got back, it took me almost 6 months to stop saying that to everybody.
Right.
But I made it my business, I talked to the maids. talk to the guys working around on the beach. I mean, just, and yes, people begin to recognize you. All of a sudden, you're getting better tables.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we have a little extra. I brought you a little extra this morning. It works wonderfully.
If you want some friends,
be friendly.
Be friendly.
That's right.
We want to sow something and expect a harvest to come.
Yeah. We want to act superior.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because it gives people a bad impression. I remember, and the only negative impression I got was from other Americans when I was in Jamaica, because I was at this one resort and everybody had to sit together. So I'm by myself and I'm sitting with this couple, and the wife actually looked at me and said, "How can you afford to be here?" And I said, "Well, what do you guys do?" Well, and they told me, hardworking people. I said, "Well, I do this, and this. And that's why I'm here." And her husband. And then she shut up, but it was quiet at the table. So the three of us were still sitting at the table. It was quiet for the rest of the meal. I was cool.
Fine with me. Dude.
I came by myself. I didn't need you to talk to me.
I know that's right.
So I'm looking at the water, eating food, having a good time.
Having a good time. But it goes to show how people think. Well, we had the same one. The resort, pulled up the resort.
Yep.
Two young black people came off. They're looking like surprised. Like,
absolutely. Well, that was at the Half Moon.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful place.
Oh, Jesus, keep me.
I know. I'm eternally grateful that you took my suggestion.
Right. Yes, I did. Right.
I'm eternally grateful.
Right.
Ain't nothing like it.
Ain't nothing like it. Found our room.
Oh.
Let's have the same room.
Oh.
Okay. Anyway.
It's a wonderful thing.
I know.
Half Moon Resort, Montego Bay.
Yes. Praise the Lord.
It is close to the airport.
Yeah.
But once you drive through those gates.
Oh man, it's a whole new world.
It's a whole new world.
Yeah. And prices done went up too.
Of course.
I've noticed that the hotels, the airlines, they are recouping from all that COVID stuff. These prices are insane now.
Of course they are.
Insane.
Of course they are.
But people are going.
Well, whenever we do start traveling again, I got a bank of air miles that's.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm sitting there on reserve just
hundreds of thousands of them.
I ain't got as many of you, but just sitting right there.
Just waiting for the right time.
Right.
Upgrade. Nothing like that first class, is it?
Yes, sir. I know.
I'm glad you listened to me.
I know. I appreciate it.
So let's talk about, since we digress, let's get back on track. So I understand politicians are about to allow the Child Help Act to lapse. So about 70,000 daycare centers are in trouble if they pull the money. Millions of families who were able to go back to work are either going to have to stop working because the prices of the daycares are going to go up, so people won't be able to afford to send their kids. And I'm not sure how you logically say, let's stop helping the children of America.
Yep.
Which includes all children, not just, my kids went to a preschool thing, and they were in a vast minority. There may have been 4 children of color in a school of maybe 60, 70 kids when they were in like the kindergarten age. And so Black children are not the only children that go to daycare and these private kindergartens and things. I don't know, how do you have your head wrapped around, we're going to pull this benefit and throw all these kids into a tizzy, throw all these families into a tizzy, and basically take away something that is proven to be beneficial? It's got to be because of whose legislation it was.
Oh yeah. Whose legislation, what they find important. Anytime you're arguing over whether we should spend the money to make sure that all the kids have free breakfast or free lunch.
That's crazy.
I know. They're arguing this stuff too.
But this same group, and I don't have any problem with this, will say, okay, let's send $50 billion to rebuild a city that we bombed.
Yep.
Speaking of which, I remember, you may not remember this, but I know you're a historian. I remember when a country kidnapped an American citizen while Kennedy was in office.
Mm-hmm.
And my language, and Kennedy basically said, if we don't have them back in 48 hours, we're going to just wipe your city off the map. We're coming after you.
Mm-hmm.
They coughed up the person.
Sure.
But ever since that time, we've been in a pay, don't show our might.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get how we're really vulnerable as citizens traveling around the country, traveling around the world, because people actually think we're very likely candidates for kidnapping and ransom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's in certain places I would love to go, but I just don't feel comfortable even.
No.
I'll see the pictures. And
a guy called me and tried to get me to bring a group to Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like saying, how about safety?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we'll have security. What kind of security do you have?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know where to take you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just because you go to dinner in Center City doesn't mean that you're free from any kind of problem.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, we're not coming now.
Mm-hmm.
Other people can go if they want to.
Yeah.
But I've got too many people depending on me to take that chance. And I wasn't incentivized by the money they offered.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course.
Because they offered me something like $150, $200 a head.
Mm.
I told them no.
Nah.
I'm not doing it.
Can't be bought.
Mm-mm.
Can't be bought. Mm-mm. No. But the kids thing, to me, that's all part of that entitlement thing.
Yeah.
How is giving somebody free breakfast and lunch at school going to make these kids feel entitled? We're talking about lunch and breakfast. Kids don't think about, the parents will think about the money, but
our leaders, our political leaders, don't have any skin in the game, so they don't care.
Yeah.
If their grandkids or kids need breakfast, they can just give the money to their family.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have any skin in the game.
Yeah, no. But it just amazes me how people who receive entitlements got a problem with other people receiving
all the time.
Corporate welfare is there all. I mean, come on.
I remember sitting on a board, and I remember having to go toe-to-toe with some of the members of the board because they were delaying decisions or saying the decisions weren't important. And I asked them one time in a meeting, I said, exactly how many children do you have here? And everybody got quiet because they didn't have any.
Yeah.
And since their kids were not on campus, they didn't care about heat, food. They didn't care about any of that. It was only about exercising their own personal agenda or trying to, their own personal agenda to influence the kids and the school. It wasn't about what was good for them. And that mindset is not uncommon among adults who are sitting in positions of power. Yeah. They forget about why they're there.
Yep. Because the seat and the influence and the power. Power is alluring, and money's alluring if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Well, that was the garden.
Yeah.
Tempt you to more power, get you more stuff, and you end up falling. It's like rich people, like the head of Disney, when he talked about how the writers and the actors should be grateful for the money they make.
He said that?
Basically, that's what he said. Now, mind you, he can make up to $100 million a year. It's hard. It's hard.
Out of touch.
Yeah, thank you. And that's just from Disney. That includes investments and all the other stuff.
Out of touch.
But there are people who, but there are a lot of, to me, I'm like CEOs that have this thought process. You're complaining about your workers want more, better pay, benefits. You wouldn't be rich if you didn't have these people working for you.
Well, they don't look at it that way. Capitalism requires poverty.
Yeah.
It requires poverty. And you taught me this years ago. If you think racial equality feels like oppression, I don't know what economic equality must feel like to them.
Yep.
The emotion that goes along with that, it must be the same they're taking something from me mentality
Yep.
or emotion,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not intellectual, it's not wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
it's not thought worthy.
Yep.
It's got to be an emotional reaction
Yep.
to, what do you mean equality?
Mm-hmm.
That means, but you know what somebody said to me the other day? And oppressors are afraid of equality because they think the oppressed are going to treat them the way they treat them.
Yep. And not. Yep. That's what they're afraid of. Black people and all these people think.
It's the farthest thing from people's minds.
Yes, absolutely.
People just want what's appropriate.
Yeah. Equality and fairness.
Yeah.
But I think one of the ways too, I think it was Bear Stearns. For those that don't know, the old investment company that felt the CEO, not saying anything wrong with this, but had his own elevator, own parking space away from everybody. So when he came into the building, he didn't have to walk past just basically anybody. So he isolated himself. And then you think that I wonder how many other people like that. You think they care about their workers, but if you spend no time with them, you have no concern about them because your whole work life is surrounded by you and just the people around you. And you don't care about them because you don't see them. You don't. I'm not against the elevator, but you know what I'm saying.
I know guys like that.
Yeah.
That literally own garage, own interest to the building, come out on the platform, do their thing, back behind the wall, out the door. I know guys.
Yeah. So it's easy for them to distance themselves from people.
Well, they are.
Because I'm never around you. I don't see you.
Yeah, you don't have any human touch.
Yeah. You're disposable.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because the arrogance, I can always get somebody else.
The wool is what's of value, not the sheep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So the $6 billion to free some citizens. I'm not trying to sound cynical. I'm glad those people are back with their family. If I've got $6 billion to free hostages, why is it anti-whatever to take $1 billion and feed some people? To get some of our veterans off the street that are homeless? Why $6 billion, you could convert dozens of closed motels, make rehab centers out of them. I mean, you could do a lot.
Yep.
And I'm not saying they shouldn't have gotten the people out. What I am saying is this, is that if we have money for those things, why don't we have money for breakfast and lunch for kids that come from impoverished areas? Why can't we do something about the homelessness in the United States? Why can't we take care of these food deserts that are part of our urban lives all over the country? I'm
with you. United States, we gave $113 billion to Ukraine since this war started. $113 billion. That would take care of, I'll renovate just about every school in the country. Books. But again, this American lie of everybody can pull themselves up out of bootstraps, everybody has the same opportunities. It is not true at all.
It's not true.
No.
And what bothers me about it is that we've got the term that is used to justify these type of inequity expenditures is, we think it's a good use of funds. Which means we don't think it's a good use of funds to help people. I'm all for, we cannot allow Russia to start marching across Europe. It's bad for everybody.
I got that. Yeah.
It's bad for everybody. But if you got 130 billion, and to say we don't have money is just a lie. Now, I do understand that the money is in pots, but they have emergency money to fund pots. So I get that they're in pots, and I get that they shift money when they think it's necessary. Why isn't the welfare of the American people necessary? That's all I'm saying. These schools in these cities, no air conditioning in them in the summer and in the warm months. Kids got to stay home for heat days. The heat's bad. I mean, what could you do with a couple $1 billion in a couple urban centers across the country?
You elevate everything. I mean, but again,
even technologically update them.
Yeah. But again, like you said, it's not to them. It's not a good use of funds.
I don't see how.
To think about the next year. To me, now you know we both know people.
Right.
Imagine if the United States said, you know what? Instead of bailing out all these rich people all the time, let's give the common people, each of them, for example, $100,000. Right?
Okay.
The American economy would fly through the roof within 2 weeks. Come on now, you know us and you know people.
Yeah.
We'll save some. And
a lot of us not going to save much.
Thank you. And all them corporations would you see Cadillac come back out of I mean, Bishop, you know people. I mean,
yeah.
But again, they don't think.
Unfortunately.
Through. Yes, unfortunately.
They would give us the money. And a lot of us would be broke after a few purchases.
Yes. I mean, and would just...
It would stimulate the economy.
Yeah, housing market go up.
We'd make other people rich. But one party would call that socialism. Anything helping people has been labeled as socialism.
Yeah.
And I know that distresses me. But it also depends who's being helped.
Yes.
So this is a stretch. So giving a rich person a tax break so they have more money, why isn't that socialism? I'm helping out your situation.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help your income, helping your day-to-day life. You know, don't sell a lie that's going to trickle down. It doesn't. Don't say that we're going to hire more people if you help us. It didn't happen. They did exactly what they knew they were going to do, which was give the CEO some bonuses, keep the money in the coffer, and lay off about 100,000 people so the profit margin can go up again. Okay.
What did they, who I think Jimmy Carter, one of them said, we're an oligarchy, not a democracy. The business folk run the country and they're going to do whatever's in their best interest. It just...
But they have workers, but we understand that workers are like weeds.
Yeah. And this is the scriptural part, especially those who are believers doing these things. Throughout the Psalms, throughout the prophets, one of God's major offenses is how they treat people.
Absolutely.
Oppression against people and injustice.
When I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was in prison, did you come and see about me? But that is forgotten.
It's forgotten,
when there's money to be made.
Yeah, because look, there's a difference between scripture and capitalism.
That's right.
If you want to talk about Jesus, there are plenty of times where he's telling people, I need you to give this away, be generous with this, don't save all, he's not against saving, not against investing. He's saying, but not at the expense of other people.
Yeah.
But again, you have Christians touting capitalism as totally biblical. Our version of capitalism, put it that way.
Yeah.
America's version.
Yeah.
When it's totally two separate things.
But I think there's this argument, and I don't think it's an argument, I think it's a statement that a lot of the guys that Jesus had following, the disciples, we know them as disciples, were business people when they joined him. So Jesus was not against business people. But he did give them another priority. He said, you're good at catching fish. You're not going to lose your fishing skill, but I'm going to show you how to catch people.
It's what you do with what you have.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, even when Zacchaeus says, hey, Jesus, he's in the house, eat with him. He said, if I cheated anybody, I'm going to pay them back.
Right.
And I'm going to start giving away some of my riches to the poor. And Jesus says, salvation has come to your house.
Right.
Because Zacchaeus gets this revelation in the presence of Jesus that I've been doing people wrong, cheating them, and I've been holding all my money for myself and not helping these poor people.
We call it capitalism.
Yeah. And Jesus applauds him.
Because there was no oversight that called what he was doing cheating them.
But he knew he was hustling.
He was legal.
He was legal in hustling people and doing wrong.
He was legal.
So
how in the world, let's switch subjects to health. How in the world is cancer in people under 50 up to almost 80%? It's got to be food, water, air.
Yep.
Almost 80%, 79%.
Yep. The older I get, the more I'm looking at labels and what's in our food.
Oh, you better.
They're slowly poisoning us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I thought about people that live here and go to Europe. They eat the same food over there and lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
People that come to Europe eat the same thing they eat and
gain weight.
Mm-hmm. I used to always wonder, like, go to Jamaica, go out of the country. It wasn't just working out. I was eating a lot and was losing weight on vacation.
Absolutely.
All the stuff they're putting in our foods, we're slowly being poisoned by food, technology. Just
my regimen every year was when I went away from Paragon, stayed there 7 to 10 days. When I came back, I was 12 pounds lighter.
Yep.
And I'm eating.
Yeah.
Walking on the beach 2 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
And but I think also, Bethany, the stress level for the American worker and the European worker
is different.
Is remarkably different.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I think part of our losing when we go away is for that brief period.
Yep.
That pressure's off.
Yep. You done brought up something now.
Okay.
Here's I'm all for hard work. And I am not preaching laziness when I say this. I'm all for, we do what we got to do, and it takes us time.
Right.
But Asia, Europe have something when they give their people siestas.
Mm-hmm.
They say, look, take an hour or two off, go to sleep, take a nap, do something restful, come back to work. And they found that the productivity went through the roof.
Oh, yeah.
This American grind, you're right. If we're not careful, we'll wear you out. And here's the thing, they'll find somebody new after you're done.
I think you have to be, like in our environment, we've got, I don't know if we can call them schedules.
Yeah.
But everybody here works a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But there's such flexibility in the schedule that if you need to come in later, you can do that. If you need to go home early, you can do that. But everybody's trustworthy to where they're going to get their 50 hours or whatever. We do what's needed in the day that we're in.
Yes. Yep.
And sometimes that's a lot, sometimes that's weeks, but we still have that flexibility. Yes. So we're not locked in mentally and emotionally as if we're got a ball and chain around us, but we're working a lot.
Yeah. And that makes us work harder because, like, look, okay, let me take an hour just to kind of relax real quick. I know I'm going to come right back in and do what I got to do.
Yeah. And then we end up leaving 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Right.
So I was telling somebody about a week or two ago that I think they had a new guard. And I was telling them, I said, you're lucky you came along now. I said, because in Summerdale, we were ordering pizza at 11 o'clock at night.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Pastors were stopping by the church at 11 o'clock at night. So it was, it was a different environment.
Yeah, it was. But I know people during the pandemic, they're like, okay, you're working from home. It was so crazy that they were monitoring how long they were on their computer. They couldn't take breaks. They had to work through lunch. And literally, they were on their backs. They're like, you're home. There were people that were a little more loose, but I know some people, they were stressed out because from 9 o'clock until like 7, 8 o'clock, working with no breaks.
Yeah.
And they were monitoring everything you did.
Sure.
And they're like, no wonder why you're stressed out, because you just.
But then you got the other side.
The flip side, they don't do nothing.
Like some of our people actually thought that we thought they were working 40 hours from home, and we know it was, wasn't representative of that at all. Come on.
That's what I'm saying. The flip side. There's a middle ground.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah. There are people that take advantage of it. But what I'm saying is there's a corporate group that, again, like you said, they don't care about people because you're disposable.
But what's really weird, Pastor Nick? What I found with a lot of employees, employees don't know how to process care.
Yeah.
And what happens is, in a lot of situations, you take care of people when things are tough.
Yep.
And instead of being appreciative, they become entitled.
Yep. They don't steward care well.
Yeah. That's amazing to me.
Yeah. Yep. And something we talked about Tuesday. It's like, as children don't always process what it takes a parent to do what they have to do to take care. Yeah. It's not until they get older and see, oh, wow, this is more than just they go to work and.
Sometimes it's not until they have to take care of their own kids that they finally see, you know what? Wow.
Yeah.
I was a brat at 25.
Yeah.
But fortunately for us, you had old school upbringing. I did too. We had chores very early in life. We had responsibilities very early in life. I had to take care of my siblings very early in life. So we didn't have the luxury of not having responsibility.
Yeah.
So it becomes a lifestyle, not an obligation.
Yeah. It's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, time went fast.
Yeah. This was a little weird.
Yeah, it was strange. So I'm excited. In about a half an hour, we're going to have a leadership meeting here at the church, and our leaders are coming in to have some discussions with us about direction and vision and all that good stuff. We want everybody to join us tomorrow. 8 a.m. is our virtual service. 11 a.m. is our live service. We look forward to seeing you. We are in a pretty insightful, challenging series called Filters. You're going to really enjoy it. We no longer require vaccination to attend service. We are observing protocols, temperatures, and masks. You'll be quite comfortable. Our midweek services at noon and 7 p.m. We want to invite you to both of those. We've been having a wonderful time at our midweek Bible studies, our midweek encounters. If you're interested in receiving news updates from us, you text BBC News to 28950. That's BBC News to 28950. And if you want devotional messages to help increase your faith, you want a BBC Elevate to 28950. Also, we love praying with people. We want you to send your prayer requests to social at gotobethany.com. And I want you also to look out for the debut of our new network, Kingdom Talk TV. We're really excited about it. It's been in the works, been in the formation stage for about a year now. And we are really excited about what God is getting ready to do and what's going to bring to your life. Subscribe to David G. Evans 1 and BBC of NJ on YouTube. And also, if you can, subscribe to our podcast platforms, DGEMS, and of course, On Point. For Reverend Nicholas Smith, I'm Bishop David G. Evans. Thank you for joining us today. I'm sure we'll have this inconvenience fixed by the next time we come on. Remember, faith acts like a thing is so, even when it's not so that it might be so. God bless you, and see you next time.